Well, I got some interesting stuff to talk about today. So I found this one guy on my YouTube thing, and he talks about the secret book of John. And this was after Christ, died and got resurrected when he got crucified. That, and John had a vision because he was asking questions about who God is and that all stuff and that. And I read the whole thing. It's online. They said they found it in Egypt or some bullshit like that. And Jesus comes down and talks to him. He visions him. I'm like, okay. So I read it all on that. And my God, there's so much fucking crap that doesn't make any sense. So basically what it says, it establishes that our God is a false God. That's convenient because God himself states that he is the only one, that there's no one above him, and there's nothing. He's absolute. He's eternal. He's absolute. So this talks about the one. The one is a light, is a conscience. It's the one that thought. And it thought into itself, and it projected out a whole bunch of other divine beings. And I'm like, okay. So I read it all on that. I'm just sitting there looking at myself, and I'm like, so when you read something like this, and then you go back to the Bible, and the guy contradict the fuck out of himself and that, because I went through the Bible and that, because he talked about the flood. He said God made the flood because he was hating on humans. He was being wrathful. I'm like, well, if you read the book of Enoch, you stupid fuck. This is the YouTuber guy. Book of Enoch actually explains why the flood actually happened. Because angels embedded their seed with woman and create Nephilims, and Nephilims terrorized the world. And for all the people that died from the Nephilims, they cried and it reached heaven, and then God did something about it. And this guy on YouTube and that, he looks satanic as fuck. He has the whole goat thing on his shirt and that, and he's it's all satanic. I look at him like you guys that read the actual Bible itself actually tells us about all these turn of events. It literally tells us exactly. Jesus said Lucifer can mimic the angel of light. He can mimic anything because he is still divine. He's just here. He's tormented. He can mimic. Now I'm just thinking to myself yeah, I listened to this bullshit before, and that was so funny. Now that people said well, God's so wrathful. He does all this stuff and that. He just tried to get rid of humans and all stuff. It wasn't because of sin and all that stuff and that. He literally bypasses sin and says he just does it because he's mean. And he literally states, you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't even matter. Because the one doesn't care. I like how you state stuff, but if that entity is so powerful, how the fuck do you even know what it even wants? And first thing, how do you even know what it's even thinking? It's and he said the most unique thing in the world. He said, we are all Christ inside. We are all divine inside. Yeah, I believe we're made with divinity, yes. But to be holy, to be perfect, is without sin. That's the point of perfection and purity. Sin is what gaps us between us and the heavens. I don't this guy was just a huge fucking bash. And I'm like, then why are people going towards Jesus and seeing Jesus and feeling Jesus and all that stuff and that? And you want to think that Jesus is Lucifer and shit? I'm like, dude, you're doing all the same bullshit just for clicks and just for fucking views, you stupid fuck. Oh, we're all making a revolution that he's got books and shit. Yeah, A true person that believes in Lord Jesus Christ is a person that doesn't need all that shit. You literally are a satanic walking twat. Fuck. You know, I pray for your soul, bro, because you're a fucking idiot. Like, anyone that sits there and they do it all the time, they mock God, they mock Jesus, and they're just like, don't you guys know? Like, well, we mock it because we have to fight against them. Like, but people that love are part of God's sanctuary. People that hate are not. It's like, well, why should it matter? This is what people actually think. Why should it matter that we know we don't need God all of that? You don't. You can live in the materialistic world. You can. And when it stated that, because I read the Secret Book of John that it talked about the serpent, and supposedly Jesus laughed and said, "Oh, that wasn't a serpent. Moses and Noah got it all wrong and all that stuff and that." And he was saying, like, I was the eagle. I was one telling you to eat from the tree of knowledge. But they forget to say that it's true, it's about good and evil. Because I want you to escape. They literally take the scripture and the opposite. They say God's a false god, Lucifer is. This is how people are so brainwashed by satanic cults that they literally do this stuff and that until they get to the point of completely just be like, you know, this guy's claiming, he's like, I used to be ex-Christian and all that stuff, and I'm like, we the people that follow Christ, we don't go with Christianity. They're the stigma of a religion that can be controlled by the Pharisees, which is what controls it anyway. People that actually follow Christ, we follow light, we follow purity, we follow, you know, positive side, negative. We don't just sit there and attend hut. Jesus is not like that. Jesus never stated that in the Bible at all. For us to be enslaved to him. It's an act of choice of free will to have faith. It's to have faith. Faith is not being completely controlled. We still make our own decisions. But as long as we follow these, you know, these simple guidelines of just being a good person, being good, being happy, being positive, the Father enjoys to see that we are trying at least. You know, when people, you know, people like that, they're all like thinking that Lucifer doesn't trick people. They literally just tricked your stupid ass. They give you the conscience bullshit that you're all gods. It's a god complex. That's why Lucifer fell, you moron. Like, this dude is like, dude, actually read something that's not a fucking forbidden knowledge bullshit that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, yes, I believe that the whole entire Bible, there's not the whole entire Bible in there. I think there's a lot of shit that is missing. Yeah. But knowing that he said that we have planets and that, he's satanic, because there's no such thing as solar systems. That shit never existed. There's planets out there, but we're not part of that. We never were part of that. That's how I know that he's completely full of shit, because there's no proof that the Earth is fucking round. It never was any proof. They made up shit, and that never made any fucking sense. Like, literally, everything is based upon a non-rotating fucking field. When they fly, when they shoot snipers and all that shit and that. The only reason why there's divots and shit because of hills and stuff like that. The shit's fucking flat. What I was saying is, like, it makes you want to think. Why are people so, like, destructive when every other religion calls Jesus to exist and said that he was a miracle worker, that he was a prophet, that he was all these things, and that they want you, because Christ talks about in the Bible. This is why I refer to the Bible, because Christ literally says in the Bible, people are going to deceive you, people are going to have false prophets, people are going to give you false information. They're going to tell you stuff that doesn't make any sense, but stay fast. This is the fight that we're fighting. These people are like, I'm revolutioning the world on that. Like, say, like flat earthers don't know. Like, we don't know God. We don't know our creator. I mean, we can read stuff from that, but we don't actually know, like, which is true, we don't. But these people think that God created us as a mistake. But the truth is, God created us with love and with compassion. Because it makes sense. And they use the breath of life from the Spirit, because they don't believe in the Holy Trinity. They don't believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because they said, well, they got all that wrong. It's the Father, Mother, and the Son. That's how they believe. That's the Trinity that people like them believe in. I said, okay. But it's not the words that are used. It's what they do. It's what God does with us. Holy Spirit's supposed to guide us. It embeds inside of us. Just like you say, Jesus says, to build our temple within us. These guys think the same thing. Like, I think they're called the Gnostics or whatever it is. Gnostics always talk about all this stuff and that. They're like early rebel Christians and shit. And they didn't follow the true word of God that came from the 12 disciples that people actually fucking lived and died for. They say, well, they died for nothing. I'm like, people don't die for lies. Like, they saw the miracle workers. No, it's just a bunch of jealous fucking pricks that just got upset because they weren't part of the bullshit. Dude, it's completely really fucked up. Like, when I read that stuff in that, I'm just like, I understand that it's true. That people, like, took stuff out of the Bible and that. Because knowledge is a very crucial thing. But, like, gaining more knowledge, like, I say this in all my, like, bulk of my streams. From the stuff that I gained since I was, like, say 15 to now, 20 years, 2 decades. Am I more miserable than I ever been? I say, not really say miserable, just bored. Life's not as fun. It's not as entertaining. Oh, shit. Because, like, just like anything else, you adapt yourself. That when they say, oh, that you have, like, that you're a Christ, he literally talks about the teachings of Jesus. And I said, what proof do you actually have, bro? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, he had 12 disciples. His 12 disciples literally explained. They watched him do stuff and that. They listened to him and that. And you're saying that that never happened. That just proves you're a fucking idiot. Like, it's so ignorant how people are just... Like, because he talks about being blasphemy and that he literally, like, hates God and stuff. And, like, well, what did God do to you? Like, what does God do anyway? He loves. No, he doesn't. He's wrathful and hateful and stuff. It's like... So you don't think that you should be judged? You think that you're... You think you got superpowers, bro? That's what it is. You think you got superpowers and shit because you believe that you're a divine spark? That you're divine? Like, divinity is for only God. You're not divinity. You're made with divinity. Your soul itself. They talk about souls too. That souls are artificial. Yeah. He's like, souls are artificial because you have 2 souls. I'm like, okay, do you have 5 penises too? I'm like, what else are you gonna just fucking throw out there?
I'm making the best mess ever.
I'm like, I don't. The only reason why I don't believe in these stupid assholes that are sitting there all day saying this shit, like, they're just ignorant fucks. You know, bless their souls and that, but man, God, they're so brainwashed and so confused. Because when I pray, I feel better when I pray. That's how I know that it's true.
Must be the
That's
cleaner's day
faith.
off.
When I pray to God, I feel the love and I feel better. That's the truth. When people make up stuff and say false God this and false God this and saying, you know, he said he's a jealous God and all that stuff and that. I said, you know how much manipulation Lucifer can do and say stuff like that? So like, God's jealous. But you never talk about Lucifer, the fall of Lucifer, because the guy was like talking about something. You give like little glimpse of it. Like these are the guys that like read the Bible and take certain things out of it and make it look like it's something else. And they're like contradictories all the time. There's always contradictories, man. You ever smelled your breath? Your breath smells like contradictory. Bitch, the fuck out of here. Like you're like, how ignorant can you be to sit there and say that you used to be a Christian, and then you sit there and you're like, God never did nothing for me. Well, God made all that stuff for you. Well, if God gave you all that stuff and that, and pushed you towards that, because God works the mysterious way. He's always has. If God was so wrathful, then why don't he just get rid of you? He can't because he's not strong enough. That's basically what he said. This guy's so dumb. Like, where the fuck do you get your knowledge from, bro? You read a bunch of stupid ass shit that's probably fucking fake. It's not even fucking real. You just fucking state that's real so you can sit there and talk about something on your YouTube channel and make money, dumbass.
The fact your survival is an accomplishment is pathetic.
He talks about knowledge and shit on something. I get it, bro. I get it. Okay. The thing is, you're wrong. You probably don't even pray. Because they said in the book of, with King Solomon that it's the E word. I can't remember what book it is. And more or less, I can't pronounce it. It's like a 13-syllable war. It talks about, you know, sinners always gather and hoard money. They have to. Because it's just how it is. They have to hoard it. Because that's the only thing they have. They don't have God. They don't have anything that they believe in. They have faith in the materialistic world. Which some of the things that he said, which does make kind of sense. Because he talked about materialism and that our divine origin is from the heavens. Which is really what the Bible actually talks about. Like, bro, you just contradict yourself like 10 fucking times in like one fucking thing. Like, it made no sense. It's like looking like, dude, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like they talked about he talked about the Lucifer goat that was made in front of one of the town hall in the governor's office, wherever it is. I don't know what it was, but where it was at.
They've got a sort of red motif.
Yeah, you know, people say, they're all like, the God, you know, and like they got like Lucifer fucking shit all over the place. They got literally Satan crap all over the place. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that shit's... Because this guy literally thinks that God is a terrible child of a person. I'm like, that's funny. Because if the God was such a big fucking asshole, why don't he just kill you and you wouldn't exist, you fucking dumbass? You contradict the fuck out of yourself because you read a bunch of stuff that people literally made up, or
I care when I said it's your liver.
it was made to deceive you from the truth. Like the emerald, I say like the emerald tablets. The emerald tablets were they talk about the conscience of the world, that everything's connected to one. And when you you use the Bible for that instance, and that I think it was on Joe Rogan's show. Yeah, the Secret Book of John is what it says. Secret Book of John, the Book of John, Secret Text. It says recounts a mythic about the creation of the world and the fallen of humanity. This is the thing right here. So Yaldabaoth, whatever fuck his name is, and the Archons, they say that's God. And they talk about it like this. He says, believe in himself to be the superior God, create a materialistic world, and basically created these things called archons, which archons are like the archangels, basically. And they said they further trap humanity into a materialistic world. So if you go to the Bible, Matt, the world was created for our domain. We were supposed to take care of it. We committed sin, which led us here. Yes, people get confused with Adam and Eve and that. And this is the reason why these people don't exist anymore. These are the Gnostics, or what the fuck they're called. And they talk about this stuff and that. And basically, they just theorize through certain things about this. Dude, there's so many. It's basically another fucking religion. And they talked about this. See, this is the tricky thing about it. So they talk about the one God. They said one. He's called the one, or it's an entity. It's a light. The one who is the source of all existence. So when you bring into the Bible and that, and you listen to Jesus talk about the Father and that, talk about God and that, he says God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. God is not a being, he's a light. Specifically, he's divine light. He specifically explains that. And he puts himself into these roles because that's what the rules are. Dude, there's a lot of satanic shit out there. My God, as soon as I popped that shit up on my YouTube, a whole bunch of other things came out saying that Jesus wasn't alive and all that crap. I'm like, dude, how fucked up are you guys? What do you like? You believe that you're a divine creature? You believe that your spirit, yeah, maybe your soul. I thought about that because I was listening to this guy talking that, and I was reading the little gospel thing, he's just like, oh, read the secret gospel of John. I'm like, okay. I read in that. It was after Christ died in that. I'm like, okay. I'm like anything to disprove that God is not who he is satanic. It puts it in my mind now that like people are trying so hard to disprove God, to say that he's not the God that you think that he is now. Like, if you want to go with that, having faith, that's what the biggest thing is. I said you shouldn't need to have faith in that God is a he, he's a he, but the entity of God is light. So this guy's explains like he is scared of you because you have more power than creation. Huh? I'm like, dude, you're a fucking moron. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Are you doing anything other than talking out your ass? Are you? Where's this God power at that you claim that you have? Well, it's like you talk so much out of their asses, all these satanic fucks, and I'm like, you have no power. You just speak a bunch of fucking bullshit that makes no sense because you can pull out scripture from like all these other fucking things and claim that it's okay to mislead people. Well, I love that Jesus tells us that people will mislead you because you follow me. They won't like you. They'll hate you. They'll want to kill you. So right there just kind of proves the point that all these motherfuckers are weird. It was interesting to listen to see how far and how satanic people are, but my God, this is because there was another video. He says he talked about the morning star because Lucifer is the morning star. He's for what it speaks to the Bible and that say no, he is the bringer of light or whatever it is, which is true. He used to be an angel. And it says, well, Jesus himself is the same as Lucifer. And I heard this before. And then it gets debunked super easily because it never talks about it in the Bible. Jesus never like says there and say that. And that's how I know this dude's fucking crazy. Like, dude, like, do people ever read or you just say stuff that doesn't make any sense? If God's so wrathful, why don't he just kill you right now? Oh, because you're powerful, because you can think of shit? Like literally how these people think. That you can literally have ABC knowledge and God can't see you because, the Archons can't see you, whatever the fuck that these people are and that you're like thinking of. They can't see you in that because, because you have the ABC knowledge. As if you're a fucking moron. And to prove that you're using God for your own fame, which God does talk about, sinners always will sit there and blaspheme me and use me for money. He sells books and shit, and he has a big YouTube page. I'm like, there's your prime example, motherfucker. It literally tells us that you're mocking God to use it for your own fame. That's not unusual. A lot of people do that shit. Everybody mocks God and nothing happens to him. Oh, he can't do nothing. Why do people think that God can't do nothing? And the biggest thing is, this guy it's this like really rebel Christian group that actually talks about this stuff. It's called the Gnostics or whatever the fuck their name is. I believe that's what it's called. They're the ones that sit there and say Jesus didn't come here to teach us about the Word. He taught us about who we really were. I said, where in the account of all the disciples did he say anything like that? Like all the disciples that you read of. And they said his crucifixion wasn't for our sins. Like, what? Like, why do you get crucified then? Well, they say, well, it's because he was trying to awaken. They do the opposite. They say Jesus Christ didn't come from the Father God. And this is really funny, though, because they said that he came from the divine world up above heaven. I'm like, okay. I'm listening. Let's just listen to bullshit because it doesn't make any sense. He came down, and the jealous God killed him. The God, the Father, our Father, killed his son. So he killed his son because he was knowing the truth. But you're not reading it right, bro. He came down to give us the truth and give us the word because the word was being manipulated by mankind. Because mankind is, well, in sin. We manipulate things because Lucifer whispers in the people's ears to make up shit. That's the point. And that's why I never understood any of this crap this guy said because there's not enough evidence. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook shit. It's like, and he goes through all these other religions that speak of this stuff and that all these the one and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, if all other religions speak of something and they don't have any divine footprint, they're just saying stuff because of the conscience law. The one, the all conscious person. And only one book speaks actual God's word to understand. This is exactly what Jesus talked about. He said, everybody else, all religions, everything else that you hear is going to be false. It's going to tell me, it's going to tell you how bad God is and all this stuff and that. And this guy's like, there's no such thing as blasphemy and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I pray every day and things change my life. I have faith in Jesus and it changes my life. Many people have faith in Christ, it changes their life. It purifies you. You become more happier, more. So right there is actual proof that these people are fucking wrong. They're completely wrong. Bless their souls and that. Like, why would you say that God is wrathful and hateful and that? Well, you don't even read the fucking text for why that happened. Sodom and Gomorrah. Talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. The actual details of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was literally a whole bunch of gay people and people fucking raping each other. And they were all fucking each other. They're all intermingling with each other and that. They're basically like the Romans did. They all just screw each other and stuff like that. And when his chosen one went in there and tried to find, he said, find 10 people that don't sin. Find one person that doesn't sin. And he told him, the angel guided him out, told him to leave. He said, don't look back. I'll go turn into a pillar of salt. He destroyed it. Why did he destroy it? Because they're massive sinners. All satanic shit. It's all demonic crap and that. What do you think's happened to this world now? And yes, you know what's funny about Sodom and Gomorrah? There was actually transgenders in there too. Oh, the LGBTQ was literally Sodom and Gomorrah. Where do you think this shit comes from? It comes from the book. It comes from history. History kind of repeats itself. This hasn't been the first time woke has ever been. It's been in the Bible for fucking thousands of years. These are the people literally trying to mock and go against God. And they have to understand that, like, we rebel against him because, we want to do what we want to do. I said, but you're not actually happy. You're miserable because you're just miserable. So you want to do the whole thing and that, which I understand. I get it. But, like, how are you going to torment yourself to think that God never loves anybody? Because you don't have the materialistic life that you want when that never matters to begin with. Like, you choose to be rich. When I see these preachers go on the street, they talk about the LGBTQ and all that shit and that, all these woke tards and all these crazy people, and they hate everybody that's not like them. Instead of being love and embracing and loving everybody like you should, like Jesus wants us to in general, that's what he always preaches about love and peace and, stuff that actually is positive, not negative. Who hates the most? Who has the most pride in the world? Lucifer does. Okay, so Lucifer is pride. What does pride actually do? Well, pride implicates that you're never wrong. Pride implicates you don't need to learn anything. Pride implicates that it doesn't matter what anybody else says, I am absolutely fucking right. So if you take pride, why they call it Pride Month, they call it pride for a reason. It's a satanic instrument. To never believe that you're wrong is to say that you're perfectionate. To say that you're perfectionate, that means you can't make any mistakes. But the thing is, when you make mistakes, which every human does in general, that, like, your pride kicks in and says, oh, I'll blame it on someone else. I'll blame it on this. And then your ego kicks in, and then your ego says all this stuff, and that's what it is. And how does this translate into the real world altogether now? How many mistakes people make in their life, they never say that they made it? That's pride. It doesn't mean you can't learn from it. It just means you don't want anyone to notice it. But some people literally will never admit to it. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid of consequences. They're afraid of actions against them. It's all about fear. So who controls fear? So we're going down this timeline because this guy's a fucking moron. Who controls fear? Lucifer does. He wants you to be in fear. Because it's easier for him to control you through fear. So when Christ comes down, the beacon of light, he comes down and tells us to not be afraid. All that stuff, is, you don't need to worry about it because it can't do nothing. Fear is an illusion. It is. You can be afraid of stuff instinctually, yes. But when you sit there and you're afraid of other human beings because you think that everything's bad, like I know some people that are like that, it becomes crucially ridiculous. And you're sitting there and you're just like, why are you so afraid of people? Well, I watch the news and that people get shot and that people do get shot and that on the news. You're afraid of something happening that won't happen. I hear people say where I live at is bad. It's so bad. People get shot living on time. Da, 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 da. I said, I've been living here for close to 30 fucking years. I never had anything other than maybe a couple robberies that I have noticed. Little baby robberies and that. Maybe a couple people get their butts beaten. That okay, but no one ever like got shot or at least got killed. The things that I know of. And like you listen to these poor spirits and that, they're so enveloped with fear and hatred that they literally become their own worst enemies because of this hatred. Like, I hate humanity. I hate this. I hate that. It's like, you ever try loving things for once? Love is stupid. Love doesn't exist. That's why you're miserable. There's too much proof. There's too much proof. You know, without God, it's really hard to enjoy your life because you're always thinking. And this is where it comes down to what that one guy was saying. That he says this is why people are all enslaved. He says God wants us to all be enslaved to Him. And I said, so you're saying that to go against God is to not be enslaved. Who are you enslaved to then? Well, ourselves, Lucifer. They never want to talk about Satan. That guy never talked about Lucifer. Never talked about. He's gonna make the idea that Lucifer's the same as Christ and he's the beacon of light and all that bullshit and that. Which is, he is, he was light. I'm sure that he still has divinity, but he's just a trapped tantrum kid. They, yeah. Gotta let it out, bro. But the way this guy was talking, he tries to make Lucifer and God the same. He tries to make Lucifer and Jesus the same. Like, you just keep on doing this shit. Like, where's your proof at? Like, you ever think that Lucifer like literally whispers into people's ears and says stuff? Of course he does. He doesn't want us to know the truth. And like, these people mention satanic stuff and that, and like they're okay with it because they believe in something that doesn't fucking exist in that way. So they try to explain the one. So they say, what happened before God? It's like, okay, well, they never say anything happened before God. Like, God is the one. And they try to establish that the one is above all that. So the one is a conscience of light. It's a divine light, pure, just like, they talk about the Father, talk about God. He's pure, he's unwaver, he's perfect in every way in that. And they want to say, like, okay, so them two literally go together because he's all compensating, he's all knowledge, he's everything. He's everywhere. But these guys that mention stuff, the Gnostics, which are like the Christian rebels and that, they try to separate. They kind of try to separate things from the Father itself, from God. They talk about the Father, but the Father was a conscious ball of light. Well, when they talk about actual God himself, they talk about he is a light. God himself is light. The Father and Son and the Holy Spirit are the implications of his thoughts. And it's so funny though, because like you're trying to separate from you're using Christianity to separate to make up some stuff from that, because this is what old rebel Christians thought. They weren't like they said they weren't around with Christ. They made up their own fucking theories about how God is. And like the church, knowing that the church, the Pharisees kind of symbolize, they try to follow the law as best they can. But like they're still fucking horrible because of the stuff from that. They burned all their taxes and that because it was blasphemy. And this is what the guy said. When I listened to him, said they did that stuff and that because they don't want you to know the truth. I'm like, well, the Pharisees didn't want us to know the truth in the fucking first place, you moron. Like, they killed the Son of God, but he had to die for our sins. That's the biggest thing is he talks about sin. This is how I know how demonic and how demonized people are. When they mention sin, they say it's okay. Sin doesn't exist. It's just all in your head. It's all blibbity blobbity. And I speak this with the most nicest way. I said, if you're that fucking retarded, bro, to think that sin is something that was made up, then that just proves how ignorant you fucking are as a person. That you will never be judged. That's basically what you're saying. That you are higher up than the one that created you. That you're higher up than everybody else. And that if everybody was godlike people and that, then why the fuck are you still living here, you stupid twat waffle? If you have that much divinity in you and you say, everybody's scared of us, where's your power at? There's people that believe they're fucking Nephilims, which is the same thing that you're believing. There's people that believe that they're superhumans. Well, do 100 push-ups then, motherfucker. Nah, your skinny faggot ass can't even do one push-up, more or less 100. Oh, it's all about the thought process. Well, why don't you go imaginate a fucking unicorn with a 12-foot dick in your ass? Like, you literally make up shit, and it's so funny, though. And it's like, yeah, this is where you get feminism. This is funny, though, because, like, feminism talks about this conscious shit a lot. You can manifest stuff. The universe works with you. I know this guy's a feminist because I can just tell by the way he looks and that. Looks like a fruitcake. But the one thing he did talk about that was actually quite interesting. He said, you need to bring your masculine side of your brain and your feminine side of your brain together to become whole. I said, okay. Well, I agree with that because when you're masculine, you don't show a lot of emotions. Your emotions are very low. You don't dramatize about stuff. Like when women become masculine, they still have a lot of feminine qualities in that, so they still dramatize, but when they want to be masculine, they can be. The thing is, them two can't be in the same process. And this is the one thing he said. And it was just like, well, if you can't put those two together, then that's when entity comes in. And entity does the shadow thing or whatever the fuck he's talking about, the shadow side of you. Where if you can't put those two together in that, he said, well, that's what becoming one is with marriage. And Jesus talks about that with. He says, when you become together, you become stronger as one. Because your minds will actually be completed. which is what they say in the Bible. And this guy says it in his own way. He's like, it's not about marrying someone. It's about gathering your true consciousness of your female and your masculine side or whatever, your female male side, and then you become one. So you become gay. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, I get it, the conscious that, but like, to see, oh, this is why we have problems with this world and all that stuff and that. You know, there's not a bunch of hey guys out there and that. And it's like you're literally just speaking. Everyone should be happy hippies, run around, put their dicks in everything. Like, okay, no law that's been passed down for thousands of years wants us to be like that. But then out of nowhere, they're like, we found secret texts. These secret texts say things, how bad God is, and I'm a fruitcake and suck dick all damn day and claim that I'm da da da. Like, okay, that's your right to do that. God's horrible. That's your right to do that. The one and God are the same. That's where I'm getting at. And specific, it says in the Bible lots of different times. And people talk about the Adam and Eve thing. He mentions Seth, Cain and Abel. Well, Cain killed Abel. God still evidently loved him enough. He put him in a different place, and that he multiplied. I had Seth. Seth was supposed to be, well, the third son of, Adam and Eve. His lineage is supposed to pass on. Well, Seth, and the way these fucktwats think that he was the beacon of light. They say Cain and Abel were produced by God raping Eve. Literally what he states. I'm sitting like, what? I'm like, that never said anything like that in the Bible. I've never had anything mention it from all these things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he brought up the Apocalypse of Adam. Basically, it's a knowledge book of Adam. He said Adam wrote something down, and he gave it to his son Seth, because Adam lived for like 900 years. And so it states about how bad God is. That's what he brought up. He's like, Adam, said, oh, Eve got, raped by God and then had Abel and Cain. Okay. And then the light, our divine light, basically saying that our divine light is what God hates because we got more power than him. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no knowledge of any of this shit in the world besides the basic shit that people make up. They theorize. It's a theory. When you turn something upside down, you get the opposite. Then you think Lucifer's good. This is how these people think. They think Lucifer's good. Lucifer's God. Oh, the God being. They think, oh, Lucifer's a good one. So the one that got cast down, that became a fallen angel because he hated fucking humans. He hated us because we were created to be loved more than him. But we were created through God's image. And it makes you want to think, like, where are you getting all this information from, bro? Like, the Dead Sea Scrolls were, like, the most powerful thing that ever been dug up in that. It talks about Jesus, like, then you get, Jesus was married. Mary Magdalene's story. Okay. It's just very interesting stuff. It's like, what you think? If Jesus says to pray to him and your life changes because of that, then you'll know the truth that everybody's lying to you. And these people are fucking crazy. They're all super satanic. Anyone that believes in feminism and all this LGBT fuck shit, they're all satanic because it makes no sense at all. You're bringing in hatred into the world, and you're thinking that defying God because he judges me. Well, who's going to judge you then, dumb fucks? Who's going to judge any of you? Yourselves? You don't have the power to forgive yourself, evidently. That's why you still do stupid shit. You hate on people that are better looking than you. You hate on people that are just better than you, and you form a hatred barrier around yourself to not accept positive things in unless it fits your fucking narrative. You have to have to fit the narrative thing. And then people that follow Christ, we do the opposite. We put up a positive barrier. We only accept positive things in. We throw out the negative. We never accept negative shit in. If it does seep in, we take it back out. That's the opposite. So I just farted. That's what I think about these people. They're just so ignorant. You know, there's all this proof that saying that God's wrathful. He didn't make you with love and all that stuff and that. Then why do prayers work? Ask yourself, why do prayers work then? Why do people pray and they sit there and they pray and they pray and then their lives change dramatically because of prayer? They start to be more happy. When they're down, they're more happier when they pray. Prime example, I had mass anxiety in that not even like a couple years ago. I prayed. I say I need help. I can't do this alone. It's just too much pressure. The entities are all around us and that they put pressure on us. So then shit goes away. I start to learn more. I start to behave differently in that. I still do sinful stuff to a certain degree, but I try to behave a little bit better, and then things change. I don't know. People are just fucking crazy. I need to take a dump. I'll be right back. Okay. And back. But yeah, I just went through that guy's channel and that, and like he has a whole bunch of random shit on there. It's all just for clicks. Jeez, these people are such greedy assholes. To manipulate people and just say that all this stuff is wrong and this is wrong, that's bad, this is bad. And to say, you know, and God says, oh, without him you can't enjoy life, that just means he's trying to enslave you and shit. I'm like, but do you know any better? Do people actually like? That's how you have to ask yourself, like, do you really know any better? Because like sometimes people do stupid shit when they're not got it right.
Wave 5.
I came for the patriarch, but you'll do.
I know plenty of people that are just confused. A lot of it's just confusion. They don't know where they're at. They don't know what anything is. And they get
Must be
stumped.
invisible.
Electricity has great potential for serious burns or death. Lightning is a... Do I look concerned? Even the best can engage cloaking field.
There must be something wrong with the calibration. You were not supposed to live through that.
It was just when people talk about Satanism, they want to use a backwards theology about stuff. And we've been warned about that as people that believe in Christ. And it gets to the point where it's just like, you guys know that the Bible literally states this shit, and you guys are sitting there
Most people prefer
trying to act like it doesn't fucking exist, but it does exist. That's what makes it kind of like you're just a fucking idiot. I mean, maybe it makes me think about the book of John. Like, why did Jesus come down after the crucifixion of himself and speak ill towards the Father that put him into this world for love and for peace? That just literally just kind of like made me think like, oh, Lucifer imitated Jesus. Because Lucifer can't imitate Jesus. It says that he could imitate any angel or anybody, even God.
Oh, suck it! Buddy, I'm a natural. I see that.
Now, it just makes me think and wonder about how far people go and just hate on someone that, or hating on a God that literally wants you to be loved.
stragglers. I'll make sure the next round is a challenge.
When people say Jesus never existed, why is there so much proof of him existing?
Easy.
Go to the pod. Body
There's too much proof of him existing. Like, I don't understand why people want to go against it. Don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to know the actual truth?
this out.
Well, that truth is false.
With a weakling like
Then
you,
what's real? My
survive.
truth's real. What about his truth? Is his truth real? Well, his truth's not real. His truth's false too. So you see how it works? You can falsify truth all you want, which a lot of people do. A lot of people falsify truth a lot. Hence the reason why they have issues, because they don't know what actual truth is.
Try this one on for size. I think you'll find it snug and deadly.
Like, do people think that people weren't telepathic back then that know stuff that? I don't believe in true telepathics. I believe people that have enough knowledge to understand human emotions can project on how people are. Yeah, it's like a symptom from a doctor. A doctor knows symptoms. If he's a good doctor, he knows what a symptom is. You know, if he sees something that regulate or like performs like a certain idea in his head about something, like someone coughs and they cough radically, okay, you probably got the flu. If they see that enough, they can identify it without even notice the person coughs. Like they might notice something else about the person. I'd say that's how I regulate emotions. I know emotional stuff. I'll sit there and I'll think about it.
Must be the cleaner's day off. Got a cloaker.
Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back.
Okay, guys, you're pissing me off. Fuck you, bitch.
Oh, sack of shit. One of those
I'll use a
moody
nail gun,
French
but
pals. Watch it. Anyone got a mop it?
Just entered a pod. You got lucky. You think killing a Scrake is some big achievement? Please.
but
You
yeah,
were
it gets to a point where you're just like, you have to think about it now. It's like,
They've got
how far do
checking
people go to be
board.
satanic? Oh, they go really
Something
far.
special for you.
It's like, oh, why do people do this? It's because they're promised certain things from the materialistic world. And for the guy that talks about, oh, I don't believe in materialistic and stuff, and I believe in higher conscience and that, but you want a YouTube channel and make a lot of money.
easy. Or steam. I need this on the Snapchats.
Damn, dude.
What?
Can't see you, fucking douchebags.
Oh shit.
Go to the pod. Buy things. Not that it will
That's a lot
matter.
better.
You'll still die. The fact you
Actually, I guess see what time I gotta go to work today. Okay, I work 6 to 2 today. But yeah, it kind of fucked with me a little bit because I pondered about it. I was like, damn,
survival
like
is
this
an
is kind of fucked up
accomplishment.
shit. Got in my head
It's
now, and
pathetic, like
I've
you.
seen this stuff before multiple times that And let me look it up. Joe Rogan Emerald Tablet.
The Egyptian god Thoth. Okay, it says beginning in the 2nd century BC onwards, Greek texts attributed to Hermes a syncretic combination of Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth appeared in Greco-Roman Egypt. Those texts known as the Hermetica are heterogeneous collection of works that in the modern day era are commonly subdivided into two groups: the technical Hermetica, comprising of astrological, medico-botanical, alchemical, and magical writings, and the religio-philosophical Hermetica, comprising of mystical, philosophical writings. Holy shit. Is this weed talk, Chelsea? No, this is so legit. So legit, my man. So this dude was probably an alien. Dude, first of all, there are no probably. Yeah. That's the benefit once you hear it or read it.
That's true.
Can we please get Billy Carson on Joe Rogan? I mean, I'm rewatching the Cat Williams Joe Rogan podcast and hear them talking about those and emerald tablets and shit. And Billy Carson's who I learned about that shit from. So I want to dig deeper on these things and I want to hear this podcast. So Joe,
I don't know who Billy Carson even is. I think that is the guy.
of the moon and they put it on a screen across the room. Okay. And then they zoomed in on it as if it's the moon, and the camera showed detailed craters. Oh, well, I'm talking about like this, you know. Oh, okay. So that's a real picture. Yeah. So that you just used the 100x zoom. Yeah. You didn't use the moon photo thing. Yeah, no. There's a moon shot standing outside. There's a moonshot aspect to that. Oh, a little. I gotta check that. I didn't know about that one. Yeah, if you zoom in on it, if you zoom in on the moon, okay, I don't think that's real. See, that's what I'm talking about. I think that's AI. The AI recreates it? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I know. I was showing off to my family. Yeah. I have the 22. I think the S22 Ultra. Yeah. I have the older one, and I would take photos of the moon. I'm like, look, iPhone's bullshit. It can't do this, but it turns out it looks like I can.
Yeah. Joe Rogan's actually really getting into Christianity and Jesus and that. There's just so much. The more you get into it, the more you start to understand like how fucking far people go to dismantle Christ. The easiest thing to do is go against God. The hardest thing to do is to be with God. Because you have to be disciplined. You have to care about. You know how hard it is to love people. As much as I tell people, it's easier to hate on someone than it is to love them. Because love, you get rid of all ego, you get rid of all pride, and you accept that person, and you want them to get better. So if everybody got rid of their pride and ego, the world would be literally a perfectionate place. Yeah, I gotta keep track of my time. Dude, I slept way too damn long. That's how you get people that do experiments on human beings and shit because they don't have any faith in humanity and shit. They get like Zed like people that.
Great! Flash power!
Don't worry. The next one will be harder.
Gotcha! Hey! Nailed him!
You are so dead. The next wave is gonna
I
flatten you. You're not dead. Good enough.
I don't.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I should have woke up earlier. I feel pretty good though. I gotta make me some food and shit. I slept pretty good though. I just slept really good. That dream was weird though. I had a dream that one of my friends got killed. I didn't know what the fuck it meant. Like he was in a bunker. He had like a little scope thing that he was looking through, like sniper scope thing. And then all of a sudden, like a whole bunch of sniper bullets shoot into him, and they hit him in the head and kill him. And it repeated it twice, and I thought about it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I getting this weird ass image in my head? Full on dream. I'm just sitting there like, when I look at it from like a heavenly perspective, it seemed like that it was a glitch, like because it repeated itself. And the image was he got hit and he made noises and that, if anybody got punched or hit, like they were like, ugh, because the pain hits them that their body reacts to with you know, and he got shot. The bullet went into his head, multiple of them did, and he's like, ugh, ugh. And the funny thing is, it was still in the shell casing. Like, they weren't just the bullet itself. I at least saw the shell casing bullet, like, it really hit his head. It didn't go through his head, not that I've noticed, it just hit his head. And I was just like, if someone threw bullets at him. And I was just sitting there thinking about something. It's like, how fake is life? And how fake is, like, people when they talk about death now? How many people died that that died? But how many people died that you like read about dying, but they never died, like Michael Jackson or all that stuff and that. And you just have to really think about it. Like no one actually like truly dies in a sense. Like our flesh dies all the time. We always get hurt. It always regrows. Like when you have achy muscles and that, if you stretch them out and you eat enough protein, that your body regrows it back. It gets stronger. But as you age and that, you start to grow more in wisdom. You start to understand stuff more. So being physical is not the only thing. We like to be physical and throw their weight around that, be like, I'm strong. Yeah, you're strong in some senses. You worry about getting physical with people more. But when you're older, you worry about being mental with people. You worry about talking with people a little bit more. I always want to say older men are manipulative towards younger women. I said it's not because we're manipulative, it's because women are manipulators. So when they have someone that has more ways of communicating, they can get a woman to like them more and get them to be like mesmerized, which is true. A lot of people don't want to think about that, which I get it, but it's the truth though. So like if I sit there and I'm like talking to someone and to say that person itself is just like mesmerized by how I talk, which occasionally that happens. If you get mesmerized by that person's thoughts, you enjoy that person. So you see like fat guys, fat ugly guys, you know. I would say just more talkative you are, the more exciting you can be. When you have thoughts in your head that are just like, oh, think about this, think about that. And of course, I'm just talking about like how women, react to certain men in that. I think I lost weight. My fucking pants are getting small. Yeah, I believe I lost weight. I worked out really hard yesterday. Try and do an in and out workout. When I work out like every other day, I try to recover more than my exercises because I've been noticing the difference of like weight loss and muscle gain if I take like a day or two break, which I fucking hate doing because I get bored. So going back to what I was saying, that when and that's what it is. When you're younger than that, you don't know anything, so you go with more instincts, more physical. When you get older than that, you know more, so you go with more knowledge. You should still be instinct and physical when you need to be, but you have the strength to be it, to be more of it. You don't rely on it all the time though, because who wants to get hurt? You know. And so, like, bring up the whole feminist thing and that. Why are these women so destructive towards men? And why do they sit there and they want this, want this, want that? And it's like it's a thought in my head goes around knowing that I'm older. It's, it's like I'm 35 and that I know I'm gonna be 36 in February, so like 8 months. And I look at it from a standpoint. I already know how strong I am. I'm a very strong man in general. Mentally, a lot stronger than what I used to be, because I actually, want to be more positive than negative. So when I look at myself now that I did, say, like 5, 6 years ago, huge change, a dramatic change. I don't feel the same. I don't even look the same. Because when you change your output of how you feel about yourself, your looks change. You start implicating more of a positive way of looking at yourself. So you change yourself. And that's one of the things that's kind of hard to do. Sometimes people get lucky in that, and their life is kind of like put into that already. They say like when people are together for long periods of time, when they're young and they fall in love, they get married, they're the only ones that exist for themselves. They become one. So anyone out there that's young and now, I'm talking about you, Mason. You with your woman for a long ass time now. To see such beautiful like love like that is it's very unusual, but very blessed. Because it's very hard for people to stick together. It's very hard for women to stick together with men. Because when the going gets tough, men try their best to protect and try their best to make things right. But not all women can do that. If a woman is supposed to stick with their man through all hell to make life better, that's a great woman. The thing is, a lot of women, they just don't want to do it. Why? Because, well, it comes down to fear. First off, it's how you're raised too. You're not raised to deal with difficult situations. You're raised to cry and bitch and moan. And things don't go your way, you cry, bitch and moan again, and then people like crybabies. They feel for the bitches of the world that are complainers about life itself. You complain about personal things, but like the rule of life is to make money, survive. But not everyone can do that. People have a hard time doing that. It gets into their brains. So like, how do I live life? Well, you live life by being positive and sharing your hobbies with people and that and doing your hobbies. Everyone has something they enjoy doing. So you do it. You know, if you see in your head you like to exercise, you should exercise. Right? You see in your mind that you want to talk about philosophy and that, then you talk about philosophy. I gotta get my little oven thing going. I gotta make me a whole bunch of eggs. I gotta make about 6. And I gotta drink a little protein shake. I think it'd be 6 and 6. It'd be 36 grams of protein. Protein shake is about 24. So at least leave me right at like 60. Yeah, about 60 grams of protein. Try to get my half. Try to get my 100 grams of protein in before I go to work. Because then at work and that I only need to take about 120 or eat about 120. Count with protein shake, which is gonna be hard, but oh, this shit works out.
Want to know what happened here?
But yeah, that's like one of the biggest things that everybody keeps talking about. We always keep talking about the whole feminist thing and why all this stuff is happening. That, and when you talk to a feminism person, that they're all like, "We don't hate men. We just want equal." Like, what do you mean by equal? There's no such thing as equal. you're two, you're two halves to make one. Women are never supposed to be like men, and men are never supposed to be like women. Why? Because that's how you were. That's how genetically, from your DNA, is how you are.
One of those moody flesh powers. Nice, huh?
And when people say otherwise in that, it's because you're not. You don't make sense.
Oh shit!
His clones are limited. Just like patience. Do not test me.
So like when you think of things, you're all like
Got a
sitting there
weapon
like,
here.
you know, why do women do things that men don't do? Because they're not supposed to. Like women don't know how to shut up. They really don't. They literally are very attentionate. Only ones that do are they
Throw
talk.
my results if you die too fast. Buy armor.
Yeah, you could be taught anything. You can discipline yourself. And it's not because they're female. It's because they act like children. Children are temper tantrums. So children want mass attention. when they don't get attention, they feel unworthy. That's the difference between a full-grown man that should be full-grown and a adolescent woman. I think after this wave, I'm gonna go make me some eggs. That looks pretty nice in there. Well, that's just the thing that, you know, has always been kind of up and down with discussion now about how people are and that.
Razor fire. Smackdown. There, get it. It's uncooked. Easy.
If I thought that was anything but luck, I would be impressed. Area remains secure.
Now, pick off this. Pick off this.
You know that flesh pound's on steroids. You're not dead.
You're a big boy.
Smackdown.
One done. Yeah, nail gun does really good against flesh pounds.
And stay there. Angry lumberjack, folks. Oh, suck it! Bang, you're dead. Wonder what's under his apron.
This area remains mostly
Nice.
secure.
Gun X does really good against flesh pounds and strikes.
Some sort of prank.
I believe it's a neutral gun. I don't think it has any weaknesses. Okay. Gotta make my eggs. I go. But yeah, as we're talking about this stuff and that, it's good to understand that hatred always seems to absorb more energy than love. Love is harder to do, to admit to it, but it absorbs less energy because you're more positive. When your hatred gets too high now, you literally destroy your own life and you get nothing fucking done. You get absolutely nothing done. If you're more carefree and happy and laughing and joking and that, which there's a lot of people out there that do that, they're a prime example of that, of the positive. Be surprised, a lot of people, they don't want people to know that truth. Gotta eat these eggs. Hope I can get them in before 4:30 tonight. So let them digest so about actually about 4. Hopefully by 5 I can sit there and eat again. And hopefully try to get an extra like a couple grams of protein, couple like 20 grams more protein in. But yeah, these are the types of battles that Good's fighting. And we try our best to be positive with these things. And yes, that guy that I was talking about in the YouTube thing, I heard all their crap and that. And like older people, they're like in their 50s and that. Like Joe Rogan's like 50, all these older people that had Cat Williams on, it had all these other people, and they're older people and that they know knowledge very well. And they're like, yeah, this shit's fucking weird. Talks about the churches. This what makes it really funny though. So the guy is very satanic in that he talks about that we're all one with the one, the higher conscious, the light, and that. But he bastardized churches that are actually really satanic churches. People that don't follow those churches and that, people believe in Christ, we believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We don't follow. That's the first thing that he mocks is the Trinity. Jesus said it so many times with many disciples around him about the Holy Spirit. And when people want to defile that and say it's not true, When you have 12 disciples more or less hear the sermons and millions of other people and like when you hear this stuff of that and you go back to the Bible, and the Bible always specifically says go back to it to find out what is actually true. Not everyone's going to be knowing of the truth all the time. Sometimes you got to refresh ourselves. And this is where these people come in and they make up all these accusations and they make no sense because they're fucking idiots. Well, okay. Some people want to devile the Trinity in that and say that it's something else because they say the Trinity doesn't make sense. And they always go back to that God was wrathful. It made me think, if God's so wrathful, then why doesn't everybody just die? When you ask this specific question to people that say these things and that, if God was so wrathful, why doesn't everybody be dead? Their explanation is what? Well, God is wrathful, but he can't be wrathful towards the light ones. Can't be, but he can, but they get protected, right? So these other beings of light protect the light ones. Okay. We could say that's true for the time being, just to understand what people say about that stupid shit. So if you're an enlightened one, there is enlightened ones out there. There's ones that are chosen by God. This is where I get really confused with the stuff and that. When they say having faith is being enslaved, and they say, but enslavement means you have no choice, right?
What road he turned on the
So if I'm
focus?
enslaved to someone, just to say, I would have no choice but to bend the knee.
You know holes in your armor are bad, right?
So people implicate that shit, and they'll say, oh, you already have to bend the knee. You have to. Then why don't you bend the knee then? If you have to. Well, because I'm enlightened. Yeah, these guys are weird shit. He says, why the church ban all knowledge of this powerful being, Experox, of saying the God of God. Dude, you look like a I can just tell. Then he's got another thing he did a month ago. It says prophecy fulfilled. Is the book of Revelations really about to end the world? You literally bastardize the Bible and then you talk about the Bible like it's gonna happen. I'm sure his comment list is like really small because people probably say, they're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? I read the book of Revelations. Whoa, you don't know the truth about it. You look like fucking the one guy off of Ghostbusters too. You're so fucking stupid. The Book of Enoch. I like the Book of Enoch.
two fleas and two ticks and all this come on the boat. Didn't happen. I'm just telling you right now, it did not happen. He was literally told to get his local flora and fauna, his local livestock, and take on this skin that was cut up into sections like a pie on the inside, but it was sealed stiff, like a sausage. That's what he was in. I mean, know this for an absolute fact now. There's no way to get around it. There's absolutely no way to get around it. So Enoch is the great grandfather. Now, what's important here is we're aligning a man who has directly interacted with these advanced beings. Now we know his own descendants also interacted with these advanced beings, and he was given the actual instructions of business from Enki, one of these Anunnaki people. Enki saved him and his family's lives by teaching him how to build this particular disc-shaped floating device, whatever you want to call it, right? This DNA bank, maybe it was that. But we see a direct connection between Enoch and Zeus, who's actually now called Noah in more modern text. So the Bible is New Age information, not Old Age, it's New Age. So it's interesting that they mention two people, same bloodline, both being directly engaged by these beings. The descent of the watchers, they descended from the sky. When we hear this in the biblical text or the Enoch text, what are we being told here? We're being told that these people, and these people came from the sky down. They descended from the sky down to the earth. And they were called the watchers. They were the watchers. They would watch over humanity. And in some ways, it was forbidden to engage humanity. Some of them were forbidden to actually engage, in other words, to directly interact or interfere. It was against the rules. They actually had something called a prime directive, the same kind of prime directive you see that they utilize that same term in Star Trek. In the Star Trek TV series, since it came out in 1960 all the way till now, they have a prime directive in which they cannot directly engage or interact with any civilization that's pre-warp. If that civilization is pre-warp and they're going to actually go down to the surface of that planet, then they have to pretend like they're part of that culture. They have to pretend like they fit in, like they're not really aliens or from space. And they can't alter or change or give them any technology in any way, shape, or form. It's forbidden, literally forbidden. Well, they've got that information from the ancient tablets. And the watchers descended to Earth because they were attracted to human women. Now, that's not me saying that. That's in the book of Enoch. That's the ancestors saying.
That's solely true.
Attracted to human women. And this group of angels is led by chiefs such as Zemaziah and Azazel. Zemaziah and Azazel were the two chiefs or leaders of this particular crew, these watchers. And they decided, you know what? These girls look pretty damn good. We're going to take them wild.
Hey, those bitches look pretty good.
Enuma Elish, or the
I can't lie about that. Our bitches look pretty fucking damn good. Got angels fucking you in the ass. You must look good enough to get pounded by divine beings. That's a fucking joke, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Book of Enoch really talks about all this stuff and that. Very interesting stuff. Oh yeah, it's like I want to bang my human girls. Fuck yeah. Not all of them. Some are fucking nasty as fuck, but they look pretty good. No, that's so funny. These famous women are bitching on that. I'm hot. You are hot, but you're just hot. No mind. No hobbies. What do you do all day? Well, I come home from work and I watch Netflix. I scroll through Instagram 24 fucking 7 or Facebook 24/7 that or TikTok 24/7. You don't do nothing. That's why men don't like your ass. Perfect. 4 o'clock. I just got done with my food. Okay. That was good. That's crazy shit. I can't wait till KillingFloor 3 comes out. I got the $80 edition because it's very pointless to just get the $40 because all games are almost $80 nowadays.
Last call for guns and bullets. Keep the area secure.
Something is.
That means kill any Zeds that get near.
No more opening for you. Got ammo here. Yeah! Gotcha! Cloaked enemy here. Smackdown!
Not terrible, but that's just the warm up.
Quiet that siren down! I'm burning!
Fuck you, fat ass.
I'm making the best mess ever! My skin is burning! Nailed him! Great! Flash power! Now, oh shit!
None of the Zeds made it in. Surprising.
Strike, everybody! Right on. Wonder what's under his apron.
This area remains mostly secure. Is all
Ain't
joking
nothing now.
now. Is this some sort of prank? You're not this good.
Must be the cleaner's day off.
No grenades. That's your plan.
Yeah. I like this one. Biocode tastes like
Here's the
hazard.
pod. I'll see if I can get your fingers stuck in it.
Yeah, one of my ex-workers over at my neighbor's house and that, because she used to date my neighbor. I saw her come over the other day and that, I was just sitting there like, I tried to text her and that. And I see what was going on. I like to keep like little tabs on certain people that I talk to and that I actually see that are, friends or close. And I keep tabs on that, see how their life's doing that. Because giving advice is always nice, to give positive feedback about life and that and tell them, oh, you're doing great. She was dating a guy in that. Then noticed that she was over at my neighbor's house. She was over there for like 5 hours. Like, did you get back with her? Like, I was thinking to myself, like, what the fuck happened to your boyfriend? Like, this is one of the biggest problems with a lot of women in that. Like, they don't want to stick with men. They like it in that, but like, as soon as the going gets rough, anything that gets tough, they go through that. They don't want to stick with it. They want to quit. Like my ex really quit on me. She's like, I don't understand you anymore, and she lost interest in me. I'm like, you lost interest in me, bitch? Oh, it's because I wasn't fucking you all the damn time. Okay. Well, you weren't doing all the things that I got done too. Like, so you got, that's what it is. Like, not every man's gonna be the same. Every man has different directives. I'm not a vacation type of man. I really don't like going on vacation. My vacation is just going on a walk in the park or something like that. Like, I don't like to fucking go to different places that, like, if I had the money to, yeah, I'd probably maybe go to like a lake house or something like that. But like, to me, I don't care. But like, you got a child like mine. That's what children do. And that's okay, but like, you're kind of like going through that routine of like thinking to yourself, like, oh, you just like to fucking waste money, and that's why you're broke. Like, you waste money on everything. You believe that you should just buy, buy your way into being happy. I said, if happiness can be bought, then why are people miserable that are rich? And people that are not rich are actually less miserable. Because it's the drive to get to that destination. That's what makes it fun. Once you get to the destination and you sit in there, you have millions of dollars in that, it becomes boring and dull, and your life has less purpose. That's exactly what it is. You start to have less purpose. Like, once I get the buy that I want and get all the pussy that I want, it'll become it'll become less purpose. If I sit there and like bang like one of the hottest girls in my mind, and I'm just thrashing ass, every other day or even like once a day, having my fun with her and that, and we're just having a great time fucking the shit out of each other. All because, I'm an older stud and shit, and I'm blasting ass, and I'm doing all my sexual wonders. Once I get all the sexual wonders and whatever my mind wants to desire sexually, what happens? It'll eventually get dull and boring, and then I'll look for the person for who they are. That's the key. You have to get past that part. So, like, my ex, for instance, didn't get past that part. She could have been the girl I was frogging and doing all kinds of fun stuff with. But inside their minds, people that want to think like this, they want the same thing to happen constantly, and they don't want to see change. And I think to myself, it's like, that's the reason why you have problems. You don't accept change for what it is, because every time you sleep and wake up, you change no matter what you think. Your thought processes even change so slightly, because you always learn something. See, that's why knowledge is so dangerous, because then once you know something, it's hard to unknow it. Unless you just don't talk about it for a while and then your subconscious kind of eventually calms down. And then you kind of just go back to your normal conscience. But after you get done with all the stuff you want to do, say for instance, I got done with all the stuff I want to do, get in good shape, make my $1 million. I was $1 million, that's all I want to make. Not even that. Fuck it, I do with a couple 100,000. Just say save up and all that stuff like that. That's the plan. And then I go through and I buy the stuff that I want, a little bit more stuff that I need than I want. I got 2 games I got to buy. I got to buy Borderlands 4 and KillingFloor 3. KillingFloor 3 is already in pre-order. I ain't pre-ordered Borderlands 4 yet because I'm still waiting. I want to get the pre-order that, but I've been not watching any of the gameplay besides the first gameplay. Like, people were telling us that they're playing and all this shit, and then like, yeah, IGN, all these other motherfuckers that get like 2 months access free of sucking cock because they're a bunch of cocksuckers. Cool beans. That's awesome. But coming into something fresh. That's why I don't like. I like Game Informant magazines. I talk about games. But when you see people actually play the game before you get to play in that, and they like spoof out storyline and shit, it gets to the point like, what the fuck am I don't like watching any of that shit. I don't like even seeing it. Like they'll show like a picture of them like shooting someone. Like you're it. But like the whole point of like all these things that happen in our life and that you get adjusted to it, you get used to it. It becomes dull and boring. But the only thing you can't get used to is love. Love is internal. Love feels great all the time. If I had the woman that I actually want right now, which I've already seen her, we already hung out in that, and instead like if she finally accepted my love, just to say, and I can wake up every day seeing her beautiful face and seeing her, like her sexiness and that, and then knowing that I'm going to enjoy the day with her. We'll hang out together, we'll go out to eat together, we'll have fun together, we'll laugh together, we'll talk about stories and that, we'll watch horror movies and that, we'll watch stuff that we actually enjoy. I had that girl. Yes, she was a lot younger than me, so to speak, but my heart was telling me that she was the one. And I know it because I felt it with her. She didn't go through with it, and that's what sucked. But hey, you know what? She was young. I'm just turned 20 now. I'm fucking old. But our hearts aligned, and we both felt it. She didn't know what it was because she never felt it, I'm guessing. Like I felt it in my life. Love is an internal feeling that you just enjoy life with them. You guys agree with each other and how you talk and that stuff and that. And that's what it was. And it's called, a father's embrace, a mother's embrace. When you're a child, when you feel your father and your mother's love, that passes down to you to fall in love again. This is why there's so much, say, issues with the heart. If you don't feel love, feel that you're protected, feel that you're like safe, you'll never be vulnerable to someone for them to fall in love with you, for you to fall in love with them. Vulnerability is saying, I trust you with me. And the man or woman will say, I trust you with me too. And then you become one. Jesus talks about it with marriage. He says you become one. You become a one entity under God. And God will bless you and give you all the stuff and that. And know that you're going to go through hardships and that. But to understand that as long as you have faith in your marriage, faith is a very huge thing. You believe in your marriage, and you have faith in your marriage, and you say nothing will come in between us. But the thing is, they say that nothing will become in between us, but always comes in between you. But the whole point of saying nothing comes in between us is saying that I know my role when I first met you. I loved you. I cared for you from the start. Your beauty was immaculate. Everything was perfection in my eyes when I saw you. Literally, that's how men think. We drive towards that. I mean, it doesn't matter if the woman's perfection in any other man's eyes. It matters the woman's perfection in that man's eyes, and vice versa. The woman can look at it like, you are the ideal person that I like. I call it genetic eyes. You genetically are attracted to specific things, no matter what people say. Like, yeah, I can look at a bunch of big titty women that like, oh yeah, you all got big boobs. I like big boobs, but I may not like the person. Like I like your tits, they're fat. You know, you make me want to stick my dong on a wall. What's this? Where is this at? Old Fallon, Missouri. They have a new site manager thing that popped up for Old Fallon, Missouri. They pay $47,000 a year. It's from Indeed. So site manager is starting to drop off because they believe they're not making enough money. But anyway, and I'm sitting there, I'm just like, huh. So if love is an embracement of two people that are similar but opposites, which is the genders, you become whole. So this woman understand that she was in love with me, so to speak, and we could actually be together, and everything that we did was just always happiness. Like it was pure fucking happiness. When we hung out, that it was just pure happiness. Like nothing really got in the way. We were obsessed with each other. I always wanted to be with her. She always wanted to be with me. Always. Like constantly would be like, let's go hang out. She never texted me a lot. She actually didn't text me much. But she would be like, come over here, let's hang out. Or I'll come over there, I'll hang out with you. I would never ever actually talk to her. I remember the text messages. I'll be sitting there at home and I'm playing video games, probably jacking off or some bullshit like that. And also out of nowhere now, I know she'd be at work and she'd say, come to work with me. I'm like, why? And it's like, she didn't want to say that she wanted me or that she needed me. She's like, oh, just come to work. She never wanted to admit that she wanted to see me. They come to work. And most like I said, I feel safe with you when you're around. I'm like, well, it's because you love me. That's why. That form of love is addiction. When you become addicted to someone, it's a form of love. That means you idealistically understand that person is someone that you crave, that you can't get enough of because you see something with them that you don't see with anybody else. And you crave it. You'll do anything for it. You could be obsessed, say, like, she could be obsessed with the way I look, for instance, which I'm thinking that's probably what it was because most women do that with men. They get insanely obsessed with looks. And they fantasize about that look. To me, I had that happen to me multiple times. I remember the girl I used to fuck around with at Taco Bell like 8, 9 years ago. Obsessed with me. She always wanted me to be around her. And this ain't the only time this happened that. And I started to think to myself, and I'm like, why is this occurring so much? Are these people literally falling in love with me and they don't understand what love is? And they just like, I don't know why I like you so much. And they'll be like, oh, well, you got a really cute face. Been told that many times. Facts. And I was like, okay, anything else? You always talk about the physical stuff. When they get into the personal stuff, this is where I start to key in. Now, I'm talking about how I rise myself from my non-confident self to my confident self. I start to understand myself through other people's lenses, through other people's eyes. And then you start to comprehend that, and you start to grow on that, and you're starting to realize that. And you're like, damn, like, this whole entire time I was like this. That's how you realize, that's why you should have faith in yourself. You should have faith in God for creating you for the way that you are, to understand yourself, to push yourself forward. That's the purpose. You're put in an idealistic way to know that this is the best way to perform. People bastardize God. It's like, God has a plan for everybody, but why does he want to control everybody? It's not about control. It's in your best effort. So if God's all love and all knowing, all that stuff and that, which people like that asshole I was listening to and that doesn't think so. But yeah, okay, that's why you're doing these YouTube pages trying to make money, you greedy bitch. When God's all knowing, all loving that, he wants to love you. What is love? Discipline. Love's always been discipline. If you didn't love someone, you wouldn't discipline them. You wouldn't care about them. You didn't care about that person. You're not going to sit there and care about what they do. You're not going to try to make them better. That's where people get the instinctuals of what of one of the things of love is discipline. People are disciplining their children at. Why are you disciplining? Because you love them. If you didn't love them, you'd be like, oh, get the fuck out of here. You wouldn't care. You're like, yeah, whatever. Go ahead and go smoke weed, and I get all fucked up and that, and then your brain rots, and you're all like, all damn day. And you understand, well, people say weed's great, and it's good for you, and that, and in small senses it is. But the true purpose of medicines, which is what this stuff is, weed, alcohol, they're medicines to reduce stress. But just to give you the hints, there's a lot of things that reduce stress. Sex reduces stress. Jerking off reduces stress. Working out reduces stress. Going on for a walk And a nice breeze reduces your stress. Taking deep breaths reduces stress. So why are we sitting there thinking that weed is the prominent example of reducing stress? Loving yourself reduces stress. Knowing that love comes from others reduces stress. But the biggest thing is that I learned throughout all my years, I can give love to anybody without even knowing them, and they would honestly understand that love. If I say, "Hey, how you doing?" That I'm new here, and that being really polite, being really gentle, and that, and then when I see something that's wrong, I go up to them and say, "Hey," I put a hand on their back and that, or on their shoulder, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" That, bro, I think you're having some issues, and that. It's like I can feel your tensions are really off, and they understand that. That's love. Loving to understand, to discipline. Say life will get better if you fall. You gotta do these certain things and that, but life always gets better. That's love. I don't care about the negativity of the person to involve my life, but I care about them in general because I know life can get better. That's implicating love. I don't need to be in a relationship with you to love you. People always think that we gotta be in relationships to love you. People in relationships that don't even love each other. They're in relationships because they feel lonely and they feel desperate. Because inside their mind, they think that no one else fucking likes them. I said, well, it's hard to like someone that is a fucking idiot. Yeah, it is. But love doesn't care about if you're an idiot or not. Because love is overcompensating that. Because when people feel that love, what happens? They feel a warm breeze. They feel everything disappears. You ever fall in love with someone? And like you sit there and you're just like, nothing else matters but the love that you have for that person. Like nothing else, the whole world disappears. Your conscience lays at rest. That's exactly what Jesus has been talking about in the Bible, in the New Testament, that to his disciples. He's like, I will give you rest. It is love that gives you rest. So the idea behind love is to be restful and to be restored and to be disciplined, to be understanding. So all these things that everybody wants to say about love, and a lot of people don't even believe in it. I asked a couple that I talked about love. I was at work and I'll be up front. I was at work and I talked about love to someone that I said, you need to give your boyfriend more love. And the person's just like, what does love have to do with it? I say, well, that's everything to do with it. Love is an embracement. It's a warm womb. That's what women have. Women have wombs. The wombs is warm on the inside for the baby to be born of love. But if you are tormenting your wound because you're doing drugs or you're doing stuff like that, you're hating on yourself, that baby feels that hatred. Because the baby's more pure. So when the baby comes out, the baby's already felt the sense of hatred. Because they start to hear in the womb before they get born. And there's not love and embracement all the time. And that like the daddy's like giving the kisses and then like, oh hey, how you doing there, buddy? And the baby like kicks him in the fucking face. Hiya! Kung fu kicks. He's like, oh fuck, yeah, the baby kicked me on the face. And I was like, well, you shouldn't get too close. Like, fuck you, daddy. The baby doesn't do that. Like, fuck you, daddy. I know what you did to mama. No, the baby's warm and embracement. It's excited. That's why it kicks the fucking stomach. It kicks the wound. It gets excited about living. I'm excited. I want to come to this world. But if you don't love and embrace that child, which is why we have all these dysfunctional fucking fucktards in the world, including myself, which I was very loved when I was younger than that. My father gave me a lot of love. I've always slept with him in bed, and I remember that. But that's what love is. And people misinterpret love so many damn times. And say, because you don't want to give in to the feelings. Say, like, if someone at work that if I had a huge crush on someone at work and I want to embrace my love and give this person all my love, that person would have to embrace it back. If she doesn't want to, then we don't fall in love. If it's just like a dopamine rush, we get excitement and get ran through and, busting ass and shit, then that's all that excitement's going to be. There's not going to be anything after that. That's the idea that a lot of people have in their head. Simple Oreo fixation, or what you want to call it. Love. They do simple love. So these women on TikTok say, men are love bombing me. You're spreading your legs for them. You literally are giving them what they always want. If a man doesn't want it from you, and then you bastardize the man for not giving it to you. So, what are you trying to say? Either men fuck the shit out of you and give you this whole materialistic luxury life that doesn't fucking exist and is all made up by big business owners. You know? What happened to just playing fucking Monopoly? Or playing cards and shit? Or sitting there throwing rocks in a fucking river? What happened to all that shit? What happened to going on canoe fucking down the river and love embracing water and air and making a campfire and that and cooking some food on that and embrace the beautiful colors of fire and that? No, you're stuck inside a materialistic fucking house with all this fucking garbage shit just to sit there and say I do and better than everybody else. But when your ego gets hit, because that's what ego is, when your pride gets hit because someone else has a car that's $1 more than yours, you're like, yeah, well, I want that. That's literally a temper tantrum baby. I want. You're not in love with a full grown woman or a full grown man. You're in love with a child. You're embracing that because it's called nurturing. Men nurture women too. That's why they're always way more hornier. And all women know that. They lie about it. And women, before and after periods and that, they're normally the most horniest fucking bitches in the world. Horny. And they all get horny. If one woman gets on a horny streak, all the other women do. It's funny how women connect together like that, but it's honest the truth. It's been honestly scientific research for a decent amount of time now. If a woman's seeing one woman with a ring that's beautiful, that woman has to have that ring. Point taken. So the girl I was hanging around with, I bought her a watch. And she showed off the watch. She was bragging about me buying her a $200 something watch. It was a cheaper watch, but still $200, still $200. I bought her as a gift because I want to show my affection. She couldn't handle it, you know. She loved it. Her heart was pounding and she was, slightly weeping at, but she would never want to break it up again. She literally lies about it. I bet she still wears it today, looks at it and thinks of me. Okay, probably so. So, what happens? I bought that, we went out to eat and all that stuff and that, and she showed it off to another person. And it was another woman. That woman literally told her boyfriend, give me that. Because she has it. Why is he buying her stuff and that and da 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 da? And the person was my GM at the time of that. He's like, yo, bro, it's like, dude, she's like begging me to buy her shit and that now because you did it. I'm like, well, that's what happens. That's how women work. I want. But the ones that don't want and you surprise them with it, what happens? A surprise. So let's go through this scenario. Let's go back fucking like a year, so to speak. Maybe a little bit less than a year. About 8 months, 9 months ago. So we went up to Walmart and that, we were talking and that, hanging out and shit like that. We used to do awfully a lot. So we hung on that. He's like, I need to go get a new watch. I'm like, okay, we'll go up there, let's go ahead and go fuck around. Then we'll go out to eat afterwards. I'm like, okay. So out there, we were looking for a watch. I just wanted something cheap and that because it doesn't matter. They all work basically the same. I was like, well, I agree with you. They shouldn't be spending fucking $1,000 on a fucking piece of equipment that literally they almost all do the fucking same thing. So out there, I can't remember how much it was worth, but it was like $200 some dollars, over $200 in tax. So I went up there and that, she picked out her watch and shit, blah blah blah. She couldn't get the band that she wanted that, but like, she tried to. I went up there and she was gonna pay for it and all that stuff and that, and I already had my card out and that. I already checked my account and I'm like, I can spend $200. I don't mind spending money, because I know the how a woman's mind works and that. When you buy something materialistic for them and you put love into it, they will embrace that love, no matter how much they might not think that it was love. But that's what love does. Love embraces the items that you get, and the women are very materialistic when it comes down to certain things. They put a lot of emotions into it because they'll remember that stage in their life. That person implicated love for me. And they're going to ask why. And they're going to think to themselves, did that person actually love me? Because no one else did. Or at least they tried to in that, but they never embraced it like he did. So the first embracement Woman's first embracement is always very magical. I'm not saying this was the first embracement for this particular woman, but it showed after. I remember like it was yesterday, a very iconic moment for me in that because I felt so much love from that day. It was so ridiculous. But the problem of it is, I thought differently than she thought. I'm not gonna look at what she thought, but I'm gonna put a I'll look at what I think that she thought. So I did a sleight of hand. I had my card ready in my hand, and I was just waiting. And I went in there. I pushed her off. The guy off the side was like, "I got this," and I paid for it. And that I paid for the insurance on it or whatever it is, and she ended up getting like the protection case for it and got the band for it. And that it was cheap, but and her heart rose. Her veil got broken. She was vulnerable. And this is what love is. Love is to trust the person that you're with. And when women idealistically feel this way, I say when women feel this way, so to speak, towards a man that they iconically trust, and just to say, super hot girl, a super fine ass woman, and that she's very, very attractive. It's not the reason why I was hanging out with her. It was one of the reasons, but I eventually got to the point the personality kicked in. I was like, oh, you're a very attractive woman with a great personality. She didn't want someone to love because she didn't really have it. At least not that much. So I like to talk about the story in that. She doesn't like what I talk about in that, but I like to talk about that because this is how it actually is in real life. So after that, we walked off, and then I felt her heart. Her heart was very vulnerable, like vulnerable enough to where men would take advantage of it and bang her. That's how vulnerable she was. But see, I'm not like that. I don't care. Like, yeah, there's a chance that something could happen, but I didn't want it to happen like that because that's not how this works with me in general. I don't behave like that. Other guys do. So she embraced it. She got vulnerable in that. She started getting really emotional. Not like massive emotional, but emotional enough to where it's starting to notice. And I remember the words. She said, "No one ever said no one ever done something like that with me." And she's like, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I care about you." It's late, and it was it's an early birthday, and I care about you a lot. Like I like being with you, and that you make me happy. I embraced my heart towards her, and it was going to happen. Like the love was going to come back and forth to become us, to become one. That's basically what's going on now. And then we went out to eat, and that I start talking, I start expressing my heart to her. I start telling her like, hey, like I really care for you a lot. I really want to be closer to you. I mean, right now, and that I understand that relationships are really bumpy in that, but like to have the idea in your head, you are going to sit there and do one or two things. Either you're going to wait for me, or I'm going to wait for you, and more or less likely we'll meet somewhere in life sometimes. I told her out front. I said it might be a little bit in that because you're still immature. No offense, you're still going through maturity process and that. You're barely you're barely 20 years old now. You're gonna be 21 this year, rather soon, and you're going through a process. I said this is just how it is. I'm an older man that, and women always desire wisdom of older men, especially men that are not completely retarded when it comes down to banging everything and that. But then again, these women are very, very horny bitches. They're very, very horny because they're young and abrasive and shit. Blah blah blah. But so to explain this love that we had is to understand that it's been building up throughout the months that we worked together and stuff like that and da da da. Because I didn't embrace her because she was hot. I embraced her because she was actually a really good person. Her spirit, her heart was really loving and caring. And she showed it off and on. But psychologically, culture was eating at her, which does with a lot of people. And they get brainwashed by society to not believe in love, to believe in success, to believe in security. I said that's what love is based upon. Any man that has ever loved a woman, they say they have a woman in their life right now, they will go through death to make sure that person's safe. 100%. They don't even care if they get shot up 100,000 times. They will embrace that pain and die for that woman because that is what men actually do. We embrace it. It's an honor code. 100%. Don't give a fuck. Someone's gonna end up dying if someone fucking touched my woman. I smashed their face into Unreckable's fucking, foo bar their fucking ass. Everyone knows what foo bar is. Because that's an embracement of myself. That's why men do it. That's why love becomes one. You take heat for all the things that happen to each other to succeedingly make each other better. When people don't embrace the one method of two lovers becoming one, you're supposed to deal with life together, not apart. And that's one thing to say my ex never did. She never wanted to deal with life together with me. Not up front, she did. She was using the fakery, which I would say it was love bombing on my side. She love bombed me, use love as a fakery to get what she wanted out of me, and then discontinued it. So yes, women love bomb men all the damn time. It's called using men for what they want. They fucking kick up the curb. Because the whole idea of feminism and all these biatches always talking about shit, the whole idea of them, and they keep on embracing it, it's like, you have to fit this standard. I said with love, there's no such thing as standard. You fit it together. A man doesn't need to make billions of dollars to fit you. Because that's what all that cock does. It fits you just fine. Okay, you could be a cock sleeve and get ran through 1,000 billion times, but you'll still never fall in love. You fall into lust. You lust the flesh. Love is a heavenly thing. Lust of the flesh is materialistic, worldly thing. Jesus does say that in the Bible. He talks about it. And the demons invade you. They tell you it's okay. Like that fucking dumb fuck I was listening to that. It's okay to say, it's okay to have sex with a bunch of people because God's false. It doesn't matter what you do. That's some satanic ass shit. Like, what do you mean it doesn't matter what you do? It doesn't matter what you do, bro. Just fuck everything in sight in that. And when it comes down to it, does matter what you do. Because he says Jesus is real. Like, okay, well, I'd rather follow what Jesus says than follow what you think of what Jesus said, dumb motherfucker. He was pretty up front. You're just stupid and you look like a fucking faggot, so fuck off. Anyway, I digress. So, love is all about embracing each other. So if I actually embrace me in my life, that's why women that are unpure, that been with a lot of dudes, they can't embrace love as much because they don't know how to. They lose it. Especially if they've been in relationships. Now, the girl I was just talking about in that, the young one, the 20-year-old that, she never was in a relationship. She was an In-N-Out burger. She'd do what she had to do, she would leave. She thought like a whore man. Well, a lot of feminist women think like that. I'm not saying that she was feminist. She actually hated feminism. But so I would think later on in life, what would happen? I have no idea. Honestly, I hope things get better, and I hope she gets mature, and I hope she starts to look at life being, love and embracement and positive, and then maybe she'll walk back in. I'd be more in open arms. How she treated me in that was quite terrible, and I understood it. But I still had to discipline it. So I had to go through and say, okay, well, you fucked up saying stupid shit. Now you don't get what you want. You don't get to have this love or this little romance with me to make you feel all happy and fuzzy on the inside. So you have to be disciplined. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And that's what the concepts are always coming up out of nowhere. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your piece of pie and eat it too. All these things and that, all these like sayings. This sayings always mean you can't have both ways of the highway. You can't have this. There's so many of them out there. Like, I know I can't have my cake and eat it too. Which means I know my life is not going to be perfect, but I will manage it to be loving and embrace as much as I can. You know, I am an asshole. Oh, good. I want to speak the fucking truth. And a lot of people do. Yeah. 7 days from now, we gotta go to a fucking meeting at work that wants to tuck in our shirts. And one of the girls that I work with, met, she said something that was really, it was funny, but kind of like feminist and stupid at the same time. She's like, the reason why those men want me to tuck in my shirt. I was sitting there, hey, that's what she said now. I was sitting there, I was listening. She's like, they want to objectify me by staring at my butt. I'm like, oh, woman, the guy stare at your ass even though you have your shirt not tucked in. Like, why do you say objectification? You're not objectifying yourself because you're not having sex with anyone. You're not having sex with me. And that guys look at girls just like you look at guys. I said, woman, in my mind, that I say, you're saying that you don't look at my big bulky fucking ass and get the idea in your head you want me to, bang the shit out of you. If you don't, cool, but doesn't mean you don't want to look at it. Your eyes attracts the things. What your eyes are there for, to attract the things. Like, if you're attracted to me, for instance, you're gonna look at me throughout the fucking day. Why not? What's wrong with that? It's nothing bad. You're trying to get something that you can't control. It's stupid. It's like you're gonna do it anyway. Who gives a shit? Either you're gonna look at me or look at another guy in that, because everyone's more better looking than your man, because your man's not that attractive. Of course you're gonna look. Loneliness is a bitch, because you can't control loneliness. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to accept it and move on from it. Crazy ass shit in this world. But it's just like hilarious when people say idealistic shit like that. Objectify me. Yeah, objectify you by wearing pants that literally show off your fucking booty cheeks when you like they're thinner pants. They're just comfortable, but they show off your ass, right? Every girl looks in the mirror and perks their butt up like, look at my butt today. That guy's gonna like it. It's only for the individual man to see, not everybody else. But everyone else is gonna see. That's the problem. Oh, that shit was still with Massacre. Forgot about that. But that's the idea behind it. And people really don't understand that. It's like, you guys literally just say stuff that you don't comprehend really that much. And then you want to get mad because people do it. It's not that people do it, it's just certain people do it. So if someone that you don't like does it, you can bashionize them. But if someone you have high attraction to, you're gonna be like, stare at me all you want. I said, bedroom fun is where all the objectification comes in when the girl looks a specific way. Guy sits there with his fucking boxers on, hard ass fucking dong, and the girl walks in with all his lingerie and tries to act all sexy and shit. And the guy's just like, you're trying too hard. Women think it's cute. Guys really don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, it's sexy and that. It does look sexy. But it's all gonna get pulled off anyway. The trueness of your beauty is you yourself. Guys know women have imperfect sized boobs. Not every girl's gonna have perfect tits. That's why a lot of guys are ass guys, because ass always looks even. That's just how it is. You just agree with that stuff. All men agree with that stuff. I need that protein chicken me a little bit. That caffeine hit me a little too hard. Yeah, I gotta start having caffeine and shit. I'm a pre-workout. I got a pumping thing that I'm using too. Now it's not like having caffeine, but I still like having the pump, the creatine and stuff in there. Oh man. Woo. Ugh. But yeah, there's all kinds of things to talk about when it comes down to relationships and how it works and that. It's just when people say stuff that like they mean it in many different ways. There's only like a couple ways, but let's say many because more than one. If a woman wants to objectify themselves towards one man, but all other men see that, they want to say, all other men want to look at me. But the one that doesn't look at you the same way that you look at them or him, you want to like get upset. Guys don't walk in and change too much. Like, we'll probably put on cologne. If I know a girl's really attracted to me, I'll put on cologne. And, I always put on deodorant for most times. Sometimes I don't. I fuck up, But I'll put on cologne. If a woman smells like cologne they'll be like, wow, that smells hot. If they're attracted to me, they'll be full on attracted to me. Because I got good cologne. I think that's to my ex, because she really liked my cologne. She was actually very obsessive with that shit. But the shit that she got was very obsessive too. And it was very, very sexy, ain't gonna lie. Because I would dive in, and she put it on to get mass attention from me. And I was diving, just biting her neck and sucking them, and she was just so. It was a very entertaining time, I have to say. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a big neck sucker. I'll suck her neck, and yeah, that shit's very, 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 very hot. But anyway, I digress. Well, we have to understand that's just how life is. Like, people are gonna be weird towards you if you're not attracted to them. And that women say, "I want to be nice to the guys I'm not attracted to." I said no. Be an asshole towards them and say, "No, get the fuck out of here. You're just not. I'm just not attracted to you." But be embracive. Say, "There's women out there that might be attracted to you. I'm just not attracted to you. The guys I like are just better looking than you. You gotta find someone that's gonna attract to you." That being embracive woman, like, work on yourself in that, exercise in that. You'd be very surprised how much, getting bigger muscles and that changes your physique and changes how you look in general. And then you change. And then you become more embracive. And you're like, oh yeah. That's how it should be. But it's just sad seeing men chase women that do not fucking like them. And like, it's sad because I've done it myself too, to a certain extent. But like, it's very sad. And a lot of times these women don't like these certain men. It's not because of just because their looks and that, like, they'll have sex with them. They don't want to embrace them to be in love with them because you haven't met a standard in their fucking book of bullshit standards that they have, which is common nowadays. Because women always talk about it. You just gotta be this big to be with me. Like, that's bigger than your head. I'm the prize. It's like, if you're the prize, why don't you shut the fuck up and be a prize then? See, prizes don't talk. Like you talk all the time. Cool. When you talk and it doesn't make any sense, which I would say most people don't make sense when they talk. I would say especially women. When women talk, it's like all gobbledygook. It's my feelings. I feel this way. I feel that way. There's one short of this couple. Hilarious couple. They're married in that. They're like cool ass couple that. And the guy knows his wife very well. She's very hot. She's got big, huge titties and that. And she was complaining. And he was just like sitting there on his computer and that, like doing work and that. It was a skit. And he tried to explain something. She was bitching about her job and bitch about that. He's like, oh my god, this is. He's like, oh. He shuts his eye. Oh, fine, come on, let's go in the bedroom. He fucks the shit out. Of course, it didn't show it. It was just a skit. So in our mind, see, he blasts the shit out of her. She's like, shuts the fuck up. She's like, oh hey baby, thank you for that. You want a sandwich in that? He's like, oh yeah, cigar in his mouth. Oh yeah, honey, just give you. That's a woman in a nutshell, and it makes sense. Has any man ever had a woman like very, very talk like most women are very talkative because they're expressing emotions? You know what beats emotions? Getting fucked a hell of a lot. When a woman's not sexually pleasured, they are very emotionally unstable. If their man's fucking the shit out of them, they know that they're gonna get ran through. They don't speak nearly as much. Why? Because they're not unstable emotions. They know they're gonna get railed when they get home. Then a man's gonna be stiff as a fucking board, and she's gonna be like, "Take me," and call you daddy and shit. And now you're gonna blast her in the ass for 15 to 20 minutes. It depends how much you can handle. You feel good. Like, oh. Women are like that because that sexual feeling is very, very emotional. When guys bust nuts, it's different than girls busting nuts. When girls bust nuts, they get really emotionally attached to that man. And not saying that they all do, but some of them literally block it out and they walk away. A lot of them do. Anyone ever had a crazy girlfriend you fucked and she was just like always attached to you and she always wanted to have sex with you? Yeah, a lot of guys know that. It's like, man, bitches fucking crazy. Constantly want me to have sex with her and shit. Just constantly want that. Like she would call me. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's hurt. And they'll even get really fucking like obsessed with it. I remember from a personal story that I used to do masturbation sessions on the phone. Voice carries sexual intimacy. That's one thing that I made up myself. When you talk in a specific way, and the woman is vulnerable because they're safer in their place in that. If they're safe in their place in that, they'll be vulnerable, and they'll listen to your words. And then when you start talking sexual, and they start like doing the stuff that they do, playing around with their boobs and whatever the fuck it is, they're very emotionally mental. Humans, females are. So I remember I was talking to this one girl, Matt. I was talking to that. She was vulnerable in that. She was like sitting there and like she loved it. She was masturbating to me and that. We're all sitting there just like I was talking to her, whispering in her ear, and I got the phone with in her ear, obviously. And like I kept on talking to her, and then my little tone voice, kind of like this. We talk about all this stuff in there, bringing a little bit of porn, that, bringing a little bit of like stuff in that, make it exciting. And just the nose, the breathing, and the huffing and puffing, her heart rate was going up. It was telling me that she was enjoying that, right? So it got to the point it got more advanced. And then she started to get more and more advanced with it. And I remember it. She would sit there and, she put a microphone in between her legs, and I would hear her going in and out. Honestly, it was really hot. And any guy that knows that sound that it makes when you go inside a girl, not that wetness, it's fucking hot. It's like, oh god, like it's that kind of like suction without the fart. Yeah, but every guy knows that's hot. It's like the feeling of it's like the juice sound of it's just like damn, whew, getting my heart rate up. Get a little hot in here. Gotta turn off my light. Get a little hot in there. Woo. Anyway, and so that's how I knew that I started to know that I was like, damn, I'm actually really good at this shit, and I really enjoy pleasuring women. So I did, and I pleasured the fuck out of her. Like she always wanted it. And I get more intensive with certain things than that. She would be like watching porn and that, and she'd be listening to me and that, and like watching that, and she's going crazy and that. Like she would orgasm so many times, and I remember one time she actually passed out on me. And it was funny though, because I pushed her to that exhaustion limit, and she kept going and going and going and going and going and going. And she's like, also hear like a shallow breathing noise. She was completely fucking passed out. And she told me the next day, she's like, yeah, I passed out. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that. It's like, oh, I was like saying, I guess you really enjoyed it. It's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, oh, see? That's completely exhausting all the emotions and all the fucking, drama in your life and that with pleasure. And that pleasure came out of love because I wanted her to feel good. See, feel good. If women don't feel good, they become very, say, docile. They go crazy. See, men can do it on their own. That women are a little bit opposite. When you give a woman intimacy, it's completely fucking different than just saying, bend over, bitch, we're going downtown. And you blast her for like 5-10 minutes a day. You're like, and you're done. That intimacy, that hour long of feeling, smelling, biting, licking, touching, hearing, all these senses become one. And you start to listen to it. You start to see it. You start to embrace it as a man and as a woman. That is intimacy. That is embracement. I showed my ex intimacy a couple times now, and her mind was blown. She was just so into it. She wanted it so fucking bad. But she used it as a get off, and she didn't want to get me off, even though I wanted that. But I didn't. The formulation of trust between us wasn't 100%. Because you throw down wanting to have a kid like the first couple weeks of us dating that or trying to get closer in that, I was like, that's really fast. It's like a red flag. And I hate talking about red flags, but that to me that's a red flag. Like, wait a minute, what? Yeah. I'm like, no, that's scary. Like, what the fuck? It's like, well, we don't have to have kids right now. Maybe we won't have kids at all. And that. I'm like, you're in a fantasy world, girl. You're old. Like, I don't want to have kids. And I told her that, like, I don't want to have kids. I mean, yeah, if you're fucking 10 years younger, it'd be a different story than that. Or at least like you're in your mid 20s and shit, it'd be a different story than that. You can embrace it a little bit better. I'm like, it's like, well, maybe we can adopt something. I'm like, I wouldn't mind adopting. I mean, I would like to have a kid on my own. Yeah, I'll fuck someone else that would give her. Just saying, like, I want my own genetics to be spread. Of course I do. And like, but the intimacy was so intense, and I missed it. And I remember it. The vulnerability in that, and like it was constantly happening that. But I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, this girl's so used to doing it. Like, she just, and I'm sure this woman implicates in herself too, because like it was really, really, really actually rather fucking hot. That's what comes out of love. That's what intimacy is. That love, that feeling you connect with someone. It's not just, if people tell me stories about their life and that, especially if women tell me stories about their sexual life and that, they're really bold about it. They'll always want to talk about it. Like, oh yeah, this guy bent me over a counter and just blasted me, and then that was it. Like, okay, so he just got off. Yeah, that was it. Like, okay, so he just got off, and that didn't even matter. Like, you're embracing something that you want, but you don't want it in that way. So if someone tries to give you intimacy and you embrace it, that's what lost our relationship. Our intimacy went away. Because that's all that, that I figured that she wanted. And that's what's sad. Because you could have got more of it. You were starting a relationship with me. But you were downing it because the feminist movement's like, men should have all these things. What do women should have? Women got vaginas and boobs. That's all we need. It's like, so you want to be a whore? Aha. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off of that. I'll